What's up, Michigan fans? Welcome back to the Maize and Bluebeard podcast, your daily podcast for all things Michigan football, Michigan basketball, and all Michigan sports. I'm Chris, your host. Thanks for hanging out with me and taking time out of your day to talk a little Michigan Wolverines. We are going to continue to update you on the transfer portal, what's been going on or lack thereof, and we'll also take a minute to talk about maybe what could be going on and why, some reasons why it's kind of a slow drip for Michigan right now. Also, we are got some weird football stuff to talk about. Some exciting news in the recruiting world for football we'll talk about, but also just some odds and ends and odd things, including the end to the legal Sherrone Moore saga, at least in the courts for now. There's other stuff that I'm sure is going to be coming too. We'll just touch on that a little bit. We'll also talk about some interesting info that came out about Iowa and how they got Cade McNamara. We'll talk about that a little bit. And some interesting comments from Ryan Day recently. We'll touch on that as well. And of course, I'll update you on baseball's game they had yesterday. And we'll wrap it up with the question of the day results as always. All that and more on this episode of the Maize and Bluebeard podcast. Let's go blue and let's get to it. All right, so let's talk about the transfer portal for Michigan basketball. No big news for Michigan. They've not brought anybody in. No one else has entered the transfer portal. We did hear that Oscar Goodman, the Ginger Assassin, is coming back. He's planning to work hard, continue to get better, and wants to be a big part of the team that tries to go back-to-back natties. And I really like Oscar Goodman. I think he's a great character kid, and I mean, he was a national, international recruit that a lot of other teams wanted as well. And he showed something every time he was in there for minimal minutes and mop-up duty. But he had some thunderous dunks. He hit some big shots. He made some good defensive plays. So I think he could really slide in at the very least to be kind of that Will Cheddar role, you know, coming off the bench and getting a solid few minutes a game. Maybe he could do more. A lot of these guys are at the end of the bench. That's why I was bummed that Cordell was leaving, because they did have a lot of talent. And that brings me to what I want to talk about. None of the players that I've talked about before, no more have come off the board. Nothing new with Juke Harris. Of course, he's, testing the NBA waters. He's talking to North Carolina and Tennessee and Michigan. It's probably not going to be decided till after he knows where he would fall in the NBA draft, a lot like Ademara and Morris Johnson Jr. So it's just kind of trickling, and, after you win the national championship and after how active and stuff Dusty May was the first 2 years, you think like, oh, we're just going to reload and get all these guys. But really, when you look at it, there's a lot of things going on here. And one is just that he's finally had time to build up a team where he has some guys coming back and he has a great recruiting class coming in. So he doesn't have to build an entire team from the transfer portal. If you look at that first year, he had to do that because everybody left after the 8-24 team. He had like 5 players on the team. So he had to. And then even after that year, you had Trey Donaldson go transfer to Auburn. Golden and Wolf both went to the NFL. Both went to the NBA. So here he was again having to quick figure it out and be able to field a good team with a mix of veterans and youngsters coming in. So, but this year he's got a lot of really highly thought of recruits coming in. He's got a great recruiting class. He's got Elliot Cadeau, Trey McKinney, Kaysen, of course, is coming back, but he won't play because he's hurt. He's going to be out all year. And then we don't know for sure what we have with some of those guys from the bench. We'll talk about this more. Once transfer portal is done and we know for sure, we can take a look at the roster and dive into some of the young guys that are still there and the rookies and the recruits coming in. But he's got people coming back. He's got pieces coming back. And we don't really know what's going on with Mara and Johnson yet. Now, I think that Morris Johnson Jr. will come back. I think he's going to get a late first round grade, and I think he wants to get drafted higher than that. And he knows if he comes back, goes for another natty, fine tunes his game, and just has a monster season, he could be a lottery pick. So I think he'll come back. Mara, I think, will go to the NBA. There's kind of this two-sided coin. There's some people that think they'll both come back, but I think if Mara's going to be a projected late lottery pick, I think he'll go. I would love if they both came back, because you think about if they both come back, dang, then you're really sitting pretty. But even if Johnson comes back, I think that Dusty May sees Australia as being a solid replacement, not for Mara 1-to-1. Obviously, Mara is so tall and just brings something crazy on defense, but Estrella is a great rebounder, a great defender, and he's got a great offensive game. He can knock down threes, and he's good on the inside. So I think he sees a lot of potential in him. Plus, some of the recruits coming in could get some minutes off the bench. But if Mara and Johnson come back, then you got Estrella coming off the bench, and holy crap, then your front court is a beast. Your backcourt's looking good, and they really just need that wing, that Lindenborg replacement, which they were hoping would be Juke Harris, because a lot of times you hear about him being a combo guard and you think of more of a Trey McKinney, but he is 6'7". He's 6'7", so he really can play on the wing. He's athletic enough. He can defend out there, so I think he still would be a great thing. And there's two sides to that coin too. I still read and see that he's projected to get $3 million, but then I see that North Carolina is offering him $5 million. So then it's like, well, how much did Michigan offer? Did they offer 3 and then North Carolina offered 5? But then I've also heard that Michigan offered 5 and North Carolina offered more than that. And I've heard that he could get up to 6. Who knows? I don't think anybody knows. Kind of the going rate for really good players so far has been around 3 million. So I'm sure that's where it started. Maybe it's higher. I don't know. Like I said, there's so many rumors out there. We just don't know. But if he's testing the NBA waters too, it could just be where he had a great visit to Michigan. It went good, and they felt good about it, thought they had a good shot, and then North Carolina came calling, and it's kind of throws a wrench in things because he's a North Carolina kid, grew up in North Carolina, probably rooted for North Carolina, maybe, I don't know, and could want to go there and be the hometown hero. So, but then he also could want to go to the NBA. If he gets a first round draft grade, that might be enough for him to be a first round pick and get a guaranteed contract. But he could make probably a lot more money staying in college, and he could go to Michigan and go for a national championship and be one of the main pieces. So who knows what's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be quick. I think Dusty May has done some interviews and stuff, and he says he doesn't know what's going to happen with Mara and Johnson, but he speaks in riddles. Of course he has to, but he says, it really depends on the draft grade. It's up to the NBA what kind of feedback they get. But he says he feels pretty good about the direction they need to go. So because he's not moving super fast and going after all these big names, I just feel like he knows more than we do, clearly. So I wouldn't be surprised if he feels pretty good about one of them coming back, and he feels good about Estrella. And he's somebody that likes to find guys. He's even said in interviews that he's not going after all these big names because he's looking for guys that have a lot of talent and have a lot of potential, but they haven't, maybe their current coach, or other people haven't seen what he sees, and it worked out pretty dang good for Cadeau, Mara, and Johnson. So I feel like I trust Dusty May, trust the dust, and I think we're going to be just fine. We just got to wait it out. But if anything changes, anything pops up, I will be sure to let you guys know ASAP in a post, a short, whatever. But every day something big could drop and something could change, so you never know what could happen. But I think it's going to be a waiting game with Juke Harris, and with Mara and Johnson being up in the air. It's just going to be a slow roll, but just remember it's okay because he has finally built a team with returning stars and a great big recruiting class coming in. So he's finally got that foundation there. So he doesn't have to go crazy and get 5 starting caliber transfer portal guys, because he's already got some. And he's waiting to see what happens with Mara and Johnson and Juke Harris probably. So we shall see. But either way, we can't get too stuck into the future and wrapped up in all this stuff. we just won the Natty. We got to enjoy it and celebrate this great team and coach. And he's not going anywhere. This team's not going anywhere. No matter what the team looks like next year, if he's the coach, they're going to be good again. We just got to get used to that, and we got to trust him and just be excited. And a lot like college football, the transfer portal, it's become like free agency. And it's just like with an NFL team or an NBA team, when they don't get the guys you want, you're like, oh, come on, we're not doing enough. And it's like, we just won a Natty. Trust the dust. The Amazing Bluebeard podcast is in its infancy. We're just getting started. I have so many big plans for this channel. And of course, with growth and everything comes sponsorship opportunities. And a lot of you don't know this about me, but in my real life, I am a special education teacher. I've worked as a nurse in the special needs field with special needs adults. So special needs adults, special needs children, families, it's all a big part of my life and something near and dear to my heart. So I was beyond ecstatic and excited when I was approached by a member of the Amazing Bluebeard community and a huge Michigan fan who has an organization that they are a part of that does amazing things in the community. So going forward, I'm excited to partner with Second Heart Ministries and have their logo right here as they continue to support this podcast and the community. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit about Second Heart Ministries and why I'm so excited to partner with them going forward. This episode of the Amazing Bluebeard podcast is brought to you by Second Heart Ministries. In a world where so many are overlooked, forgotten, and struggling to be seen, there's a place where they matter. At Second Heart Ministries, they serve veterans, the homeless, special needs families, those battling addiction, underprivileged children, and men and women behind prison walls, reminding them they are not alone and they are not beyond hope. But they can't do it without you. Maybe you can't give financially, and that's okay. But something as simple as hitting follow on their Facebook page helps them to reach the ones who need the most. Because sometimes the smallest act of support can change a life. Second Heart Ministries, giving hope, a second chance, and a second heart. You can find information about Second Heart Ministries in the description box down below. Go Blue. All news, and first of all, exciting news. QB recruit Kamden Lopati flipped from Illinois. He had decommitted in the last few days, and I was going to talk about that, but I'm like, I'm just going to wait because I feel like he's decommitting for a reason. And he did, because he committed to Michigan yesterday officially, and I'm so excited. He's been my favorite QB recruit. I mean, I really like Dane Weber and some of the other guys too, but man, Lopati he just fits what this Jason Beck and Kyle Whittingham want to do. I love his size. I love his arm. I love the way he runs and just runs through people. He is going to be a fun quarterback and high character kid, super smart, always trying to learn and get better. Even in high school, he was going to Utah and trying to learn from Jason Beck and Kyle Whittingham. So I'm excited that he's in the fold, and people cannot talk enough about his character. So yeah, I'm super excited. I think he's going to be a stud. Tommy Carr's looking good too. So all of a sudden now it's like, man, the future of the quarterback room is looking bright, and I just feel good about Whittingham and Beck and Detmer Jr. being smart and knowing we got to have guys ready to go, the next guy ready to go, and train them up so that we'll never be in that spot again that we were when Sherrone Moore took over and we were stuck with quarterbacks that should not have been starting. So Lopati commits to Michigan. Huge get for Kyle Whittingham and company, and they continue to build a great recruiting class. They're off to a great start. I can't wait to see who's next. But for now, Lopati, fantastic. Let me remind you of his size and stats real quick. Again, remember, Lopati was the number 10 quarterback recruit in the country, the number 115 prospect overall, which is fantastic. Rivals, Director of Scouting and Ranking explained why they're excited about Kamden Lopati. I just want to share what they said. They said Lopati is a thickly built quarterback who really thrives as a playmaker and in improvisational situations. I think when you talk about the strengths of his game, that's really where you start. He had a good junior season in the state of Utah, a state where you've seen the competition, particularly offensive level play, really elevate over the past 10 years. A lot of good offensive football and quarterbacks come out of Utah, and Lopati is certainly in that group. I had a chance to see him in person several times, He was impressive at the Under Armour All-American game back in January, and I think he's got a live arm. He is a quality athlete. He's already very filled out. So again, his junior numbers, listen to these. He threw for 2,671 yards and completed 64.8% of his attempts. He racked up 44 total touchdowns and 8 interceptions. They said that he'll be able to push the ball downfield. He's a little bit of a wild horse because he's aggressive. He's not afraid to try to stick the football in the tight windows. He can maybe get into trouble sometimes with that decision making, but I think it's an area where he's going to continue to improve, especially with coaching and at the college level. But he is an exciting quarterback to watch on Friday nights. He's a big game hunter in the sense that he's always looking to make a big play. And they said Lopati's a guy who can do what Michigan likes to in terms of quarterback and the run game. He has the ability as a drop back passer, and he can make plays in improvisational settings. So I think he offers the skill set that Michigan values and Jason Beck values. The full menu of the offense is going to be on the table with him in terms of running and passing. He's a guy with a lot of versatility, and he has the physical makeup and traits to run the ball at a higher clip, just given how well built he is. I think Michigan will be able to do some creative things with him, and I think he's a great fit schematically for the Wolverines and what they are trying to do. So exciting stuff. He's had great stats, high character kid, always trying to get better, trying to learn. And like he said, he's already thickly built to handle running and to handle hits in the game. So he's only going to get stronger and add on muscle as he gets into college. So yeah, the sky's the limits for the kid. And I would rather have a guy that's willing to chuck it down the field, and try to make big plays. And then you can coach him to make smarter choices about making big plays in college when the competition increases. But I'd rather have that than a guy that's gun shy and doesn't want to throw the ball down the field. So I think he's going to be great in this offense, and I think the future's bright for Michigan at quarterback for sure. Very exciting stuff. Go Blue! News came out yesterday also about former Michigan head coach Sherrone Moore. He will not have jail time. He will avoid it as punishment for all the stuff that went down. He did get 18 months of probation, and he was charged with third-degree home invasion, stalking, and breaking and entering, or entering without breaking. He's not allowed to use alcohol or recreational marijuana, and he's not allowed to possess any weapons. He'll have to continue his mental health treatment, and he's not allowed to have any contact, direct or indirect, with Paige Shiver, the staffer at the center of their inappropriate relationship. If he follows the terms of his probation, he will not serve any jail time. He will also have to pay court fines that total more than $1,000. So, I mean, for him, that legally that ended about as good as you could hope for. Just a sad story. I don't want to talk on this too much. I mean, times are good for Michigan. We're moving forward. We're moving on. Football, we've got a fantastic coach and coaching staff who are above all this kind of junk. We just won the Natty in basketball with a fantastic high character coach. We have great players, and the future's bright. But I just wish the best for him and his family moving forward. I hope that he's very, very lucky that his wife stayed by his side and kept their family together. I hope that he uses that second chance to be a better dad and a better husband and a better man. And that's all you can hope. I hope everybody involved can heal and move forward and have a good life. Just a sad fall from grace for him. And I just feel for his wife and kids. And like I said, I hope everyone can heal and recover from this and move on. And hopefully this can kind of be the end to all that. But it won't be. There's going to be stuff from Paige Shiver too, with the university. There's always going to be things in the news about this. But that came out yesterday. Just had to touch on it. But like I said, I like to keep things positive. So I shared the information. Like I said, thoughts and prayers with his family and everybody hurt from the situation. And hopefully everyone can heal and move forward and have a good life. But let's talk about other things. More interesting news from the NCAA. On Tuesday, they announced penalties for tampering violations at Iowa, which were reportedly stemming from contacting Cade McNamara, Michigan's former quarterback, while he was a student athlete at UM and not in the transfer portal in November of 2022. So as a result, they have had wins vacated from the 2023 season and more. So just very interesting. I mean, it was it was the right choice for Michigan to go with JJ. Clearly, we went on that crazy run and won a natty. But I always liked Cade McNamara, and he just had a lot of grit, tough kid. So it was a bummer that he left because he would have been a great backup. But I get that he wanted to play. But something always did feel a little off with that whole situation. It was very odd, and it didn't work out for him or Iowa, which sucks. They didn't have crazy seasons with him or anything, so I'm sure Iowa fans and everything's they're just ready to move on as well. So an interesting development. Like I said, we all kind of felt like something seemed off at the time, but it didn't work out for them or him in the long run, and just kind of a sad end to that whole saga. Something else interesting I just had to bring up because a lot of people have been talking about was just something that Ryan Day, Ohio State's football coach, said recently on an interview, and he said, if you are not someone who's coming in here as a first or second round pick already, then this may not be the place for you at Ohio State. And I don't know, it's just silly. It just makes me laugh. It's just kind of dumb. But I also think no one should be blowing out of proportion either. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to say, like, we only get the best of the best, and you're not gonna play here and start here and all that unless you're a really good player already. So don't waste your time. But it just comes off kind of dumb because then you're basically saying, like, we can't develop people here, so you got to be really good already if you want to come here because we don't have time for development. Like, it just sounds kind of dumb. So I just thought that was funny. Let me know in the comments what you thought of his comments. I'm sure you've heard them too. But it's just dumb. I get it. It was just kind of it's just one of those things that coaches do sometimes. But I just feel like it came off a little, like I said, it just comes off as him saying, like, we don't have time to develop. So if you're not going to be a first or second rounder already, don't bother coming here. Which is silly because they've had a lot of third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounders and a lot of guys that were undrafted free agents. And so I don't know. I'm not really sure what he's trying to get at. But it's just kind of dumb. But let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Before we move on to baseball and softball and the question of the day results, got to talk about this play from Bryce Underwood in practice that's been making the rounds. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to show you the clip real quick and then we'll talk about it. Here it is. I mean, pretty freaking awesome. Little Patrick Mahomes action there. Improvising. The play broke down. He runs around and then he throws it behind his back to a wide open Jamie French. I mean, pretty awesome to see the French connection there. But this is one of those things that it's awesome, but at the same time, a little terrifying. But I think this is what will be different now with their coaching staff now with Coy Detmer and Jason Beck. If this happened in a game, we would all be like, oh, that's awesome. And the coaching staff might be like, oh, wow, great play. But the difference is he's going to come off the field and Detmer Jr. is going to say, all right, that was awesome. But let's talk about the mistakes that you made. Why did the play break down? Did you miss a read? Was your footwork okay? Did you leave the pocket too early? Did you not trust the offensive line in your pocket? Could you have stayed in there and delivered a touchdown the old-fashioned way? And then also, that's probably not the safest thing to get used to doing. It worked out here, but it might not work out because that throwing behind your back like that can be a little dangerous. But at the same time, I love that he feels comfortable and confident to do that because he didn't feel like he could be himself and just play his game under Sherrone Moore. He felt like he was in a box, constricted. He just looked like he always played tight. So seeing him just improvise like that and do something wild like that is a good sign. Like I said, because he can be himself. He can use his athleticism, his talent, his swag, and make plays like that. But the good thing is I know the coaching behind the scenes is going to be really cool. but also not the smartest. So I love both sides of that. And it was just a fun thing to see. What a talent he is. I cannot wait to see what he does this year with this coaching staff. Michigan baseball defeated Toledo on Tuesday, 6-4. They improved to 21-15 overall. Braden Jeffries homered for the first time in his career and reached base 5 times. That's insane. Colby Turner scored 3 runs, had 2 doubles, and extended multiple hitting streaks he has on the year. He's had a hit in 16 straight games, and he's scored a run in 13 straight games. Pretty awesome stuff. So a great game for Michigan. So Michigan was supposed to play Eastern Michigan today, but due to weather, that game was just canceled. It's not a conference game, so it won't be made up. So they will not play Eastern Michigan. Michigan will be off the rest of the week until Friday when they start their weekend series at home against Northwestern. Softball also won their game against a MAC foe, Central Michigan. They won 8-1. Lauren Putz hit a grand slam. Maddie Erickson homered, and Janessa Conway and Lily Valament both had triples. Kat Myers won in relief, allowing 1 run on 6 hits and no walks, with 2 strikeouts over 6 innings. They will be playing today at 5 p.m. against Bowling Green. Michigan improved to 27-15. So both teams are kind of starting to get some confidence and get on a roll. We'll see how it ends up and keeps going. Now it's time for the question of the day results. Remember, I do a question of the day every day. So if you haven't voted on today's question of the day, after this video, go to the community tab and vote. Yesterday, since I talked about the ESPN ranking Big Ten teams for spring as of right now in football, and Michigan was number 5, I said, do you agree with this? I asked, do you agree with this, or do you think Michigan should be ranked somewhere else? So you could pick from top 5. Is that good? Is Michigan fine in the top 5? 6-10, 11-15, or the bottom feeders, the bottom 3. Results are in, and here they are. As you can see here, the support for Michigan football is strong as always, and 81%, at least as of right now, chose top 5, and I would agree. I think that's a great spot for them. You can argue, 4 or 5, maybe even 3 if you shake some things up, but I think 5 is a good spot because hype is good, talent is good, coaching has been good, but until they prove it on the field, I think that 5 is a fair spot because that top 5, 6 is really the teams they see with a chance to challenge for the Big Ten, go to the playoffs, all that. So I think 5 is a great spot for Michigan, and I agree. So thank you, everybody that voted. Remember, there's a question of the day poll live right now, so if you haven't voted yet, go vote now. That's going to do it for this episode of the Maize and Bluebeard podcast. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you had a fun time. As always, if this is your first time here, or if you have hung out with me for a while and just haven't hit that subscribe button, please just hit it real quick. Then you'll know when I have videos out, shorts, lives, all of those things. You'll know when they come out. You won't miss them, and you'll be a part of a fantastic growing community that is just getting started, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And remember, when I get to 1,000 subs, I'm going to dye my beard maize and blue and do a fun live stream to celebrate with you all. So help us get closer to that. Be sure to hit the like button if you are subscribed. That helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm know you're having fun. If you get the hype option, I would love it and appreciate it if you would hit that and hype me up. That helps as well. And leave a comment. I respond to everyone, and I can't wait to talk to you down in the comments. So I will see you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. And until I do, Michigan fans, have a fantastic day. And as always, go blue.